Welcome to the July 19th, 2022 meeting of the Tupelo City Council. At this time, I'd like to have everybody stand and have an invocation by Janet Gaston and a Pledge of Allegiance by Buddy Palmer.
Heavenly Father, I thank you for the honor and the privilege of living in Tupelo and serving this city. Thank you for each person and family represented here. We all come with a desire to do what is best for our city. While we may not agree on every issue, I pray that we will treat each other with the utmost respect and dignity. Help us to seek your wisdom in all that we say and do. In your Son's holy name, amen.
Amen. Face the flag, please. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This time I have the Vice President Beard confirm or amend the agenda, any amendments to the agenda and the agenda order.
Mr. President, we have a couple of changes in the agenda. On 16.5, I'd like to recommend that we add Rachel Shumpert to speak. We had a cancellation in that position. Also, I'd like to recommend that we move item 35 and 36 to the study agenda.
Do I have a second?
That's fair.
I have a motion by Travis Beard and a second by Nettie Davis. All in favor? The motion carries. Chad, I'll get you, Chad. I won't forget you. All right. Proclamations, recognitions, and the reports agenda. We have no proclamations. We have no recognition of Boys and Girl Scouts. We have no employee recognitions. And before we do the public recognition for the council members, I want to have Bill Allen, the chairman of the Police Advisory Board, to come up and give a statement on the minutes that we're going to approve shortly. Bill?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the annual report that's being given to the City Council from the Police Advisory Board. If you'll recall, the ordinance that was established back in 2000, on June the 27th, 2017, required that we make an annual report. We gave it in writing last year, and I believe in the year before due to COVID. So this is the first time we had a chance to give this in person. As a reminder, the advisory board was established, as I said, on the 27th of June 2017, and we spent the first year in existence primarily conducting training, in addition to those members of us who were enrolled and completed the Citizens Police Academy. To ensure that all the members of the board were up to speed, this was quite an accomplishment. Deputy Chief Alan Gilbert was in charge of all of the training conducted at that time, and it was outstanding. We all gained a great deal of knowledge from his leadership and his abilities. At this time, all but one current member of the board has completed the Citizens Police Academy. The remaining member and any new appointments will attend the next session. Having completed the academy, along with the understanding of the Tupelo Police Department existing policies and procedures, gives each board member a wealth of knowledge in which to use to answer questions from the public now that they have a better understanding of the law and the Tupelo Police Department. To date, we have had only one formal request by a citizen utilizing our policy to address the board. However, that individual decided not to follow through with that request. I presented a PowerPoint presentation to the board that's still available for use in the event we get the opportunity to speak to any civic organizations, and that has been utilized a couple of times. Collectively, we have attended every neighborhood association meeting in the city. In addition, several of us have attended other meetings. All comments received from citizens regarding the police department have been addressed with the chief in our meetings, and appropriate action has been taken in all instances. Most of the comments are regarding traffic violations such as speeding, running stop signs, etc. Such things as extra patrols have been provided where deemed appropriate by the command staff to remedy these problems. In addition, the members of the board have been utilizing the chief's monthly report to the board that covers all of the statistics for the previous month to better inform the citizens at our local meetings. Many are amazed at the activity and had no idea of what the officers experienced each day and over the course of a month. With the city broken down into 8 zones and only 1 patrol officer assigned to each zone, plus a backup, a supervisor, and a shift commander, it's amazing what these officers get accomplished in a day's time. With all the calls for service running and increasing now, we are averaging between 5,000 and 6,000 calls for service per month. That's an amazing number. We also have for backup the Narcotics Unit, CID, Special Operations, and Animal Control. We will continue the community involvement type efforts with the help of Lieutenant White, the COP coordinator, who will allow us to continue to help make ourselves known and hopefully continue to receive constructive feedback to pass on to the chief and improve what is already an outstanding police department. We currently have all authorized slots for the board filled. However, we have several board members who will be completing their second terms and must be replaced within this next month. Those slots needing to be replaced are Ward 4, Aaron Washington, Ward 5, Larry Presley, and 1 mayoral appointee, Michael Stegall, who decided not to be asked for reappointment due to a work conflict. In addition, the mayor needs to appoint a new vice chairman to replace Larry Presley, the current vice chair who is rotating off the board. We look forward to continuing to work with Chief John Quacca. Chief Quacca has been very supportive of the board and has injected some of his ideas to help improve the workings of the board. The most recent being a recommendation that we meet every other month rather than monthly. This was approved by the board and a request for the change was submitted to the city council, and you approved that on 17 May 2022. We will begin meeting in the months of January, March, May, July, September, and November. The meeting time and date will remain at this time the second Wednesday of each month at 3:30 p.m. Because of the reduced meetings, we will review our attendance policy, and if approved, we'll submit a proposal to the city council to change the ordinance accordingly. Attendance has been a problem in the past, and we have not followed the policy because it would have eliminated several members, further placing a strain on the board as well as the council as having to find replacements. If we agree and receive approval to make the change, we intend to follow the policy regardless of the consequences. In addition, we're considering changing the meeting time again to further accommodate those members who are working. I invite all the council members to attend one of our board meetings as you have the available time. Currently, we meet the second Wednesday of every month at 3:30 p.m. in the community room of the Tupelo Police Department. Our next meeting will be in September. Please feel free to contact me with any questions or comments that you may have. This time I'll address any questions that any council may have.
Bill, we got any members of that committee here tonight that we could recognize?
I did not see any when I looked around the room. Sorry. I was going to do that, but there are none here besides myself.
Where did you say the vacant spots were?
I'm sorry?
The vacant spots?
The vacant spots are in Ward 4, Ward 5, and 1 mayoral appointee. Okay. And those all expire in July. Two have already expired, and one's well, all 3 of them have already expired, but they've agreed to continue to serve until they're replaced, with the exception of Michael Stegall, who did not want to be reappointed because of a work conflict. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you very much for the opportunity to present this report, and we appreciate your time.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Public recognitions, we're going to start with Chad first, and then we'll come to you, Janet. Chad?
I don't have any.
Janet?
Well, I just want to say thank you to the city for installing the mast arms for the stoplights at Main and Thomas Street. That was something that I requested when I first came on city council, and now it's complete. So thank you to the city for that.
Good job.
And Johnny.
Rosie?
No.
Clay? Travis?
Just a couple of recognitions. One, I want to thank my friend Buddy Palmer for filling in tonight on bill pay. I had to be out, and it's my turn, and he graciously took my place. Also, just recognize the Water and Light Department and Public Works Department for having some issues in my ward, and they were gracious enough to get those remedied in an efficient and satisfactory manner, so I shout out to them.
Eddie?
I just have 2 accolades that I would like to give, and I'd like to thank the city for supporting the George Washington Carver reunion. That's the school where I graduated from, the historical black school in the area of the year. We have a big reunion and people from all over the country used to attend, and it was very successful. I'd like to thank all who gave support to that. Our United Methodist annual conference was held this past week in Tupelo, and I got a chance to attend many of the sessions, but we were very proud to have them in Tupelo because at one point in time they wouldn't have it anywhere but Jackson, but they must have felt Tupelo was capable of handling it, which they did. They did so graciously. So I'd like to thank everybody who gave support to that. And I would like to invite all of you to Lee Williams' celebration. He's one of the native sons, a very famous gospel singer, and he passed away last year. And they had a big celebration. They'll be having a 2-day celebration at Battle Park, and the city and other areas of Tupelo will be giving strong support to that. We would like for you to attend that. People from all over the country will be present at that event. So please try to give support to anything that we're doing in the community that's going to make Tupelo the greatest city in Mississippi.
What's the dates on that, Ms. Neville?
29th and 30th.
Man, I want to add one. Last weekend was a busy weekend in Tupelo, especially the Park and Recreation Department. We had a softball tournament, men's. I think we had a tennis tournament. We had a swimming tournament, and I guess we had a wrestling tournament at the Tupelo Con out at the Furniture Market. So shout out to Park and Rec as well.
The only thing I have is I'd like to wish Janet Gaston a happy birthday.
I have a birthday coming up next week too.
I won't forget you, I promise.
Okay. I'll be 81 years old.
I have one more announcement. On the 30th of this month, we will have the Dancing with the Stars, so all of you are invited to come and watch.
Are you a participant? You are.
All right, at this time, we'll move to the mayor's remarks. Mayor?
I told you I didn't have anything, but I have one thing. I want to congratulate Chief John Quacka for being appointed to the State Law Enforcement Board. He is now a member of the Mississippi State Board of Law Enforcement Standards and Training, which holds the trainees to the highest standards in the state. So, Chief Quacka, congratulations.
At this time, we're going to close the regular meeting and open the public agenda. Public agenda, public hearings. Item 1 is in the matter of public hearing for lot mowings. Tanner? Do we have anybody here to speak about a lot mowing? Item 2, in the matter of a public hearing for the demolition of 2816 Evans Circle. Do we have anybody here to speak on the demolition of 2816 Evans Circle? We'll go to the appeals. There are none. At this point in time, we're going to go to citizens' hearings. So as your name's called, you'll come to the podium. You'll state your name and your address, and you'll have 5 minutes. At the end of 5 minutes, Ms. Shelton will tell you when your time's up. And at that point in time, we have a number of people to speak. You'll need to conclude and sit down so the next person can start. Everybody that's on the list has already been gone through and checked. You have to be a resident of the city of Tupelo. You have to own a business in the city of Tupelo or own property in the city of Tupelo, and or you're representing somebody that the subject's about. The only one that was added at the last minute was Rachel Shumpert, and she actually emailed her request last week to the incorrect email. We checked it out. She's taken the place of somebody that's not going to show up, and her name was added when we amended the agenda. So we'll start with James Moore. James Moore. James, if you could state your address, and you'll have 5 minutes.
1899 McCullough, James Moore.
You're on.
I ain't never done this before, but I feel like we don't need that low income housing, because I don't live there and I've done that, and it ain't pretty. But for you to have some, you gotta step up to the plate. Oh, okay. Yeah, I feel like we shouldn't have to, build them apartments or whatever, because I stayed on there all my life, and it's been good for me. But I don't know about nobody else. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Next. It's just the public, they get their chance to speak. Next is Paula Faris, who is speaking for Glenn McCullough.
Good evening. It's nice to be in Tupelo. I'm here on behalf of my clients, Glenn McCullough and Mary Connor Addick, to talk to you about lending their support to the Planning Committee's rejection of Flowerdale Apartments, and to go over the sound and reasonable legal footing that the Planning Committee was on when they made their decision and when they made their rejection of the proposal. The decision by the Planning Committee fulfills the long-range plan for the city of Tupelo, as evidenced by the zoning development plan, specifically 4.121, the purpose and intent. This particular site is a mixed-use employment district, and really the meaning is plain there. It is intended for mixed use. Employment is the priority. Businesses with residential mixed in. The Planning Committee reviewed the proposal and made a determination that the plan at this particular site does not fit the intended purpose and intent under 4.12. And of course, the Planning Committee is vested with the authority to make such determinations, and it is their responsibility to assess the situation, to assess the circumstances, and they rendered their decision. In making the decision, they contemplated the comprehensive plan and the effect that it would have on the city of Tupelo, specifically the street that fronts the site. And the Planning Committee expressed their concern and based their decision in large part that this proposal would cause a safety hazard in that area. And they're within the bounds to do that. And the Mississippi Supreme Court has said repeatedly, and actually I have a case for you that I'm going to read from. It's a 2016 case, and it's a City of Tupelo case. And the Mississippi Supreme Court said, and I'm going to read from the opinion, quote, "An administrative act is arbitrary and capricious if the agency entirely failed to consider an important aspect of the problem or offered an explanation for its decision that runs counter to the evidence before the agency or is so implausible that it could not be ascribed to a difference in view or the product of any agency expertise." The rejection was not arbitrary and capricious. Just because, respectfully, the developer has a different view does not mean that it rises to the level of being arbitrary and capricious. And the Supreme Court has found that administrative actions should not be disturbed unless they are arbitrary and capricious. And based on that, and based on the planning committee's concern about the safety hazard that would arise, and based on the intent and use of the comprehensive plan for that site, Glenn and Mary Connor put forth that the planning committee's rejection of the proposal was sound, and that the council, it should not be disturbed, and that the council, they hope, will find in line with the planning committee, who was vested with the authority to make the assessment that they did. I have also a letter. Glenn had contacted an expert in the area of city planning. He is a nationally known expert, and he has a letter. And
May we have 10 seconds?
I'd ask that this letter be added to the minutes for this evening. It's by Robert Barber.
Sir, you can bring it forward. Thank you very much. Ms. Shelton, add those to the minutes. Next, we have Lee Durrett.
Good evening. My name is Lee Durrett. I am here on behalf of Joe Estes and the Magnolia Business Center. Our address is 2605 Old Belton Circle. We're directly north of the proposed development. And largely, I'll try to make my points quick. I think the first point is Tupelo does not have a lack of apartment or rental properties. The CDF has already made that development. I don't have those reports with me. But I'm sure the CDF would be happy to share their research and the results of their determination. But the first point is we don't have a shortage of rental property. If anything, we have too much rental property. The second point is similar to what Ms. Reese said, is we support the findings of the planning committee, and they were very much within their authority to do that. And I understand, the developers have their environmental studies, they have their traffic studies, and those things support their position. But the fact of the matter is, as a planning committee or as the city council, you're not obligated to accept their traffic reports and their environmental studies. And it's not me that says that; it's the Supreme Court of the state of Mississippi. And the case that I'm talking about is Roundstone Development versus City of Natchez. It's a 2013 Supreme Court opinion, and they were talking about traffic issues on a small road that would have a high volume if the development went through. And the Supreme Court said this, I'm going to quote it: "In determining the factual issues before it, the board is not bound by the results of the environmental test or the traffic study. Rather, it was free to consider the statements expressed by all the local landowners at the hearing, as well as to call upon their own common knowledge and experience in their town." The Supreme Court went further to say the court has said such considerations are sound and practical. Ladies and gentlemen, we've all been down this road. We all know right now as it stands, it's overused. It's not sufficient for the traffic that uses it, especially prior to work and 5 o'clock when people are leaving. To suggest that putting a development that has 107 parking spaces, to suggest that that is not going to cause traffic congestion and danger issues is not, it's not honest. And so I would suggest that you have your own experience with that road. Think about it. You're not obligated by anything that I say, anything that they say. You know the road, you know the issues. The other thing I would suggest is there have been two, I believe, in the past 15 or so years, two aircraft that have crashed near that area. That needs to be considered. I'm not saying that's an overriding issue, but it does need to be taken into consideration because that area is close to the landings and takeoffs of the airport. The last thing I would say is look closely at the ordinance that for a mixed-use employment district. there has to be employment. That's the heart of the development, and this is not. This is purely residential. Now, they will tell you it's a use by right. We've got the right to use it as we see fit. And I'm going to tell you, if the city takes that approach, what the city's going to have is a mixed-use employment development that's full of nothing but apartments and residential developments. You've got at some point to say no. We have got to follow the intent and the purpose of the ordinance, which is to, in its own language, to provide concentrated areas of high-quality employment facilities. That's its purpose. This board, this council needs to be mindful of that and follow that. That's the obligation of this committee. And so again, the Magnolia Business Center, we would support the decision of the planning committee for the reasons we've stated, and the development should not go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Linda Collins.
I live at 2744 Prairie View Cove in Belden. That's in Cottonwood Estates. And I'm speaking for the members of that neighborhood off of Colonial Estates Road. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, first of all, I would like to say that we do agree that there is a need for affordable housing. A need that seems to be always increasing, and it should be dealt with. It should be built. In my research, I learned that the national average for cities and their rental properties overall is 35% of the city. And for Tupelo, we have an overall 42% of rental properties in the city of Tupelo. I also learned that low-income renters pay 50 to 80% of market rent in their cities. Yes, this type of rental property is important, and many folks do not have the resources to purchase a home of their own. It is very challenging to own a home, and it is the American dream. In Tupelo, the average cost of a home is $250,000. We also agree that the aesthetics of the Flowerdale project is beautiful. Mr. Rutledge told us it is more beautiful, in fact, than the homes in the area there on Colonial State Road. We have no argument with that. Now, in Cottonwood, we have 76 tax-paying homeowners. We are vested in our property and in our neighborhood. The properties are pristine because homeowners desire to protect our equity and the peace of the neighborhood, thus the property value. I learned in my research that lower rents can impact the surrounding community negatively, thus bringing down property value. There can be disastrous problems as consequences of such a project where residents are not financially and emotionally vested in their homes. Let's look at two major multi-million-dollar low-income housing projects that were also quite beautiful in Tupelo, located on Lawndale Drive. They were known as President's Gate and Azalea Gardens. These properties became, and I quote the Daily Journal, crime hubs, health hazards, and a blight-infested area. Both properties were brought by Tupelo and demolition agreed upon by the City Council in September of 2018. The purchase price of this blight was $2.5 million for President's Gate and $2.15 million for Azalea Gardens. Add the cost of demolition and cleanup, and Tupelo paid a whopping $6 million to clean up the area. Mr. Rutledge says that the law, the bullet points of compliance, and the aesthetics are the most important things for you to consider. We homeowners are asking you to consider relocating this project. And we also ask you to consider the close proximity of tax-paying homeowners who are dramatically in opposition to the project. Not only are property values an issue, but infrastructure is an issue. I have not heard from the developer that there is a plan for street profile, for the site improvement, road work, curb work, sidewalk, street lights, traffic lights, landscaping. All of this goes into the development. If the developer does not pay for it, then the taxpayers will pay for it. And not only will our property be impacted negatively, but our taxes will increase. Our concerns are paramount to this project. We are opposed for valid reasons, and it is your responsibility as the elected members of the Tupelo City Council to consider all of the tax-paying residents of this all-American city of Tupelo. And I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, ma'am. Next is Lisa Russell.
Lisa Russell, 3580 Cotton Bow Lane. I'm not going to be as eloquent as the rest of them were. I just jotted down some notes. I was employed by the city for 32 years. I still work on contract at the Aquatic Center, so I feel like I've been involved in my city for a long time, and I know how things work. I have listened to so many complaints and things throughout the years that I don't like to complain, and I don't really even want to voice my opinion because I've listened to it, and you don't always want to listen to it. But I don't want to sit back and watch this happen. I knew about a year ago that this was on board, and I'd already been told this was a done deal, so I put it to bed and just let it go, and then it's brought back up, in the past 3 or 4 months. This complex, to me, could be located anywhere. If somebody had bought the property on Coley Road, there's much to be bought on Coley Road. The villages, the country club, they would have felt the same way. We don't want that many people near our houses. Doesn't matter who you are. I bought my house in 2013 for $125,000. As far as I'm considered, that's low income to me. That was what I could afford at the time. It now goes for $195,000, and that's only been 9 years ago. Most rental properties I don't feel are taken care of. They don't have a vested interest. I grew up with a father who owned 20 to 25 homes, and that was my summer job, was every time an occupant moved out, we went in, cleaned it, painted it, whatever. And people don't take care of their stuff when they don't have a vested interest in it. I feel that if these were houses, such as the ones on Ida Street now that they had the lease to own, it would be completely different. They would have a vested interest in it then. Our road, it's barely suitable for the traffic that's on it right now. I haven't seen a recent study. I drive that road every day. I haven't seen the little counter thing or whatever they do out. So I want to know, like, that study, was it done, did they look at an old one? How did they make that study? The road's curvy. There's no place to veer off to. If you've got a child in the back seat that you happen to reach behind, you can go in the gutter at any time or hit somebody else. I've seen bikers and walkers who have no business on that road but could be hit at any time. There are no gutters. The roads need to be widened, to me, for a long time, ever since I lived there. I'm a little bit concerned about our walking track. We have a walking track that's in between our two neighborhoods. Will the occupants of this feel like they can come to our walking track? We have trees. Can they bring their grill up there? Can it be a city park? Is that the way they will feel? Because they won't know it's not theirs. Let's see. My other thing is, somebody said at one of the planning meetings that they wouldn't want to live by a railroad. I've lived by a railroad. You get used to the railroad. It's not a big deal. But how long does a building stay together when it lives by a railroad? My wall shook every day, 6 times a day. That's back in 1984. That house is no longer there. So, how long will it last? Will it last 10 years? Or what kind of shape will it be in after that? I bought my house to live here the rest of my life. This is where I want to stay. I love it. Nobody comes in and out of there. It's just our little neighborhood. Everybody looks out for everybody else. I'm not planning on leaving until my kids make me go someplace else. I think most of the residents there too feel the same way. At least half of them are single, widowed women. There may be a quarter of the residents who are younger, and they will move to larger homes at some time. Our neighborhood is safe. We are our own small community, and we would like to continue it that way, and I hope it's there to stay that way. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Jonathan Kahn.
My name is Jonathan Kahn. I live at 2686 Prairie View Circle. And I just want to echo what has been said tonight and what was said at the planning committee meetings, that I don't feel that Colonial Estates Road can sustain the additional traffic that would be caused by this kind of development. Many of us drive that road every day. There's a lot of traffic going between McCullough and West Jackson, a lot of business traffic, banks, factories, and the addition of this many additional cars, I think, is just going to cause problems. I don't feel that the road, as someone mentioned that was on the planning committee, she felt that in good faith she can approve any more development in the area because of the road and its condition. And if you look across McCullough at Old Building Circle, that road is in a bad shape. It's been patched many times. It's rough. And I feel that that's because of all the development that has gone on that side of McCullough. And I feel that Colonial Estates Road would suffer the same fate if this was approved. So I just ask that you side with the planning committee and disapprove of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Wesley Webb.
Thank you, Councilman. I'm coming to y'all as, I guess you could say I wear three hats. First one, y'all know, as you know, I am the supervisor of District 3, which coming to y'all is for my concerned citizens. I'm also coming to you as a real estate broker and also being on the major thoroughfare for 10 years. And I have done work for Mr. Britton and also Mr. Rutledge. What they do a great job. But also, I feel like this is not the best area for this. Section 42 was designed for blighted areas. This area is not a blighted area. They used to get tax credits for tearing down structures. There's not a structure to tear down. Like I said, this is not a blighted area. The next thing I'm coming to you as is being on the Major Thoroughfare Committee. I was on the committee when we voted to widen Jackson Street. One of our main concerns when we were doing that was putting a red light, which it did not get done, but putting a red light there on the south end of Colonial Estates where it comes out on Jackson. If you go by there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or in the mornings when kids are going to school, that area is backed up a good bit. I can't see when you put another 60 people living here what it's going to do. I mean, I can't see how far back it's going to get. It's going to get back very far on the traffic. And also on the north side, when you're at McCullough, in the afternoons, when the trains come through, you already have backups with people turning onto Colonial Estates Road. They're on McCullough, they're taking a left. One of the biggest things that was brought to me is the property taxes. They base their property taxes on the rental rates on what they bring in. It's anywhere from Section 42 property are allowed anywhere from 70 to 80% reductions on property taxes. For instance, the one they did in Verona. If it was a regular developer and it was bringing in regular property taxes, it would be bringing in $75,000 a year for property taxes. Theirs is bringing in $17,000. So when we go to looking at developing land and what it's bringing into our our community, we really got to look at the dollars and cents. When we're working for the city, we got to be trying to get the most money we can for our property taxes. So, anyway, thank y'all for your time. Y'all have a good afternoon.
Thank you. Next up is Glenn McCullough Jr.
Thank you, Mr. President, and to members of the City Council, Mayor Jordan, staff members. I want to first thank you for your service for the city of Tupelo. And all of us that live here are very proud. There's not another city in the state of Mississippi, in fact, not another one in the South that can say 5 times All-America City. 5 times. Let that sink in for a second. I was with our Senator Chad McMahon last week, and we had a meeting with the Mississippi Home Court Board and staff. It was a very positive meeting. Senator McMahon cannot be here tonight because he had a prior commitment, but he asked that I put in the minutes that he strongly opposes the Flowerdale Commons Master Plan apartments. And the reason Senator McMahon opposes them is because the overwhelming majority of his constituents have let him know that they're not in favor of this master plan. We need to put in the minutes the definition of mixed-use employment. It's already been mentioned, but it bears mentioning again. So this is the city code. This is the code that we make these decisions by. The objective of mixed-use employment district is to provide concentrated areas of high-quality employment facilities that may be integrated with or adjacent to complementary retail and commercial uses and medium-density residential uses. Secondary uses, such as live-to-work units, medium-density residential housing, and complementary commercial uses are encouraged. This is the code of the city of Tupelo. You have a memo from a professional civil engineer, Blake Mindrop. He's recognized all across the state of Mississippi. He's worked in high-profile projects. In fact, ordinarily, my comfort level before you is to propose incentives for General Atomics or for Cooper Tire, for Toyota. But tonight, we're placed in the really uncomfortable position of doing what's right for our city and saying no to 46 multifamily apartments on Colonial Estates Road because the code says no. Now, that's not my opinion. Bob Barber's got 30 years as a city planner in zoning, in land use, in advising cities on using their precious property in a way that helps them become successful. And I'm going to put these in the minutes, Mr. President, with your permission, but I'm going to read the next to the last paragraph. This is from Bob Barber, professional city planner. In my professional opinion, I strongly concur with Mr. Mindrop's conclusion in this matter, that these apartments don't fit based on the code, 4.12.1. Further, note that the permitted residential uses as stated as secondary to primary employment uses, thus strengthening the dominant employment purposes of the district. You've heard from the legal counsel of the largest employer in the district, that would be Magnolia Business Center, Mr. Joe Estes, one of the largest employers in our city. He's expressed his views. Mr. President, I'm going to place these memos in the minutes with your permission. And finally, I'll ask a question. What makes Tupelo an All-American city? Well, it's these ladies and gentlemen right here. These are people that have appeared before this microphone tonight. And it's you who make decisions on the future of our city. That's what makes Tupelo an All-American city. So my respectful request, and I say that with all sincerity, we've known each other most of our lives. Listen to the people. These people have invested their money, their lives, their talent, and their future in Tupelo, Mississippi. And I pray and I believe that their voices will be heard. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Next is Tommy Green.
Good evening, council, mayor, Mr. Logan. I am Tommy Green, and I reside at 2092 Springfield Drive in the Cottonwood Estates subdivision. I have lived in Tupelo for over 35 years. I love this city, and I want what's best for this city. In fact, I was on the 2011 All-America City team when we went to St. Louis and won that award. I too will be dancing with the stars like Miss Jones next Saturday night. If you want to pledge, give to either one of us. We're still raising funds. I moved to Cottonwood Estates a little over a year ago. I had lived in Highland Circle for over 20 years, and I'd gotten to the age, and also I'm a single father, and my daughter is going off to college, so I didn't need the big house. I didn't need the older house upkeep. So someone offered me a good price for my house, and I sold it. I was without a house. I knew every neighborhood, and I had a good friend that was a realtor, so I looked at a lot of places and settled on Cottonwood Estates. The main reason is that it is affordable. It is also zero lot line. They also mowed my yard, so it was meeting all the criteria. If the Flowerdale Commons had been constructed, I probably would not have looked at this area. I've lived around the corner from low-income housing. I know the street traffic. I know the crime. Last week at my house in Cottonwood Estates, I had the plumber to come, left the front door open, and didn't hesitate. It's a safe neighborhood. We have a great community. Before, I would have met the plumber and let him in the house and probably stayed there until he left and locked the door again. I am all for affordable housing. In fact, that's one of the main reasons I bought at Cottonwood Estates, because it was affordable. However, I don't think we need affordable rental housing. We have plenty of rental properties in Tupelo. I'm all for affordable housing to purchase. I'm also concerned with my property value. I bought this house thinking this is going to be my last house for a while. But if this is built, I'll probably look elsewhere. I'm very concerned about the street. As has been stated, it's a busy street. My 18-year-old daughter is afraid to drive the street because of the sharp curves and the drop-off on the sides. If we add 107 more vehicles, that's only going to increase the problem. I'm sure that the traffic report was done correctly. I go there various times of the day and the busiest times. I never saw anyone checking. I never ran over the little thing that clicks the cars. So I do question how valid the study was. But that being said, even if the study's correct, 107 more cars is only going to increase. I will use one of my little neighbors, and she said, you can call me a little gray-haired lady that couldn't be here tonight. And she said she moved there because of the safety, but that she too was concerned with the increase in traffic. She said now she's a little afraid, and she said, and I'll admit, I'm a little older, so my reflexes are not as sharp. And she said, it scares me to add more cars to that area. I am, as I said, all for affordable housing. I think we need more. That was one reason I had to look so hard when I was looking. When I was downsizing, I wanted affordable, and this met the case, but I don't think we need any more rental properties. I also question the fact, out of all the places in Tupelo that this could be built, that this is not the best location. I too have lived on a railroad track in an apartment. It's not fun. Also, right behind the complex is a ditch that tends to overflow. I just think that of all the places in Tupelo that could have been selected, this is one of the poorest. So I just ask you to think long and hard on this and to vote no for the Flowerdale Commons. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. Mayor Connor Adcock.
I'm Mary Connor Adcock, and I live at 1304 Lawhorn Drive in Tupelo. I own McCullough Steel Products and MTH Plumbing there on McCullough Boulevard. And y'all have heard a lot of talk about Cottonwood Estates, and I don't know if anybody really explained to you about that. Glenn, being close to city officials, back in '07 was approached about the need for affordable housing. And he and I purchased 30 acres, and we had Tupelo's first and only today PUD approved, planned urban development, to provide affordable housing for the citizens of Tupelo. And we have been very pleased with it. We are only halfway through, but the tax base that brings in for the city is probably about $140,000 a year. And these ladies, you know, we thought we were going to have mostly young first-time home buyers, and it's worked out, as some of these ladies say, this is their last home before they go to the big house upstairs. So I feel a real responsibility to protect their investment. For most of them, it is the largest investment that they have, and they are on fixed incomes, and I would just ask that you please support the Planning Committee's decision to deny Flowerdale Commons. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Connor. Next is Michael Chidester.
Good evening. My name is Michael Chidester, 3594 Cotton Bowl Lane. I've lived there for 13 years. I guess I was second, third, or 15th, everybody that's been before me. That's Cottonwood Estates. I love the neighborhood, moved in it. I finally made it there. That was my goal, was like, hey, I want to make it to that neighborhood. And I did, and that's what I can afford. That's where I can be. To know that this development, the low-income development, I know they're needed. Nobody's against them, but it's kind of like you want to be out of that, not live across the street from it. You want to protect your property values, your home. I've raised 4 daughters there. 2 are in college. I still have 2 more I'm raising, and I oppose it. I don't know what else I can say that no one else has already said. I agree with everything from the streets to the everything, but I don't understand how it's allowed. You just buy something and, hey, this is what I'm going to put there. Is it discussed? I don't know how those things work. What's to stop anything else from being there, from a nightclub to a gentleman's club? Somebody from out of state that's a developer that says, oh, this is going to be nice and beautiful. Do we all just say, oh, okay? And we all know what the outcome of our values would be of our homes. But I oppose it, and I appreciate your time, and thanks for consideration.
Thank you, Michael. Robert Barber emailed that he is not going to be here. So next will be Trennis Embler.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council. My name is Trennis Embler. I live at 2575 Cobblestone Court in Belden, Mississippi. I've lived in Northeast Mississippi my entire life. I've lived in Tupelo City now over 40 years. I have lived in the Ridgeway neighborhood for over 32 years. So really, I'm representing the west side of Tupelo. The McCullough family established the Cottonwood Estates over 10 years ago. And you know, I guess what I would really say is they're probably the poster child for affordable housing in the city of Tupelo. I too have read and know that Tupelo City has plenty or many rental properties here in our community. You know, my girls, who are, one works in Washington and the other one is in college, begged me to not to tell people. Thank goodness it is finally looks better. But when I moved to Tupelo in December of 1982, I lived on Ida Street. And that was really the only housing where you could live then that I could afford at starting a new business. And but later it became a very blighted area. Now it has been revitalized. It looks nicer. But I mean, my late husband used to say I couldn't even travel that street for probably 15 years. So I do know what happens with rental property. I know what happens with rental property because of the business that I am. But they established affordable housing, which we are all for and all about for everybody. I think the thing that we're most opposed to and most afraid of is what we know that happens to rental property. It's just not taken care of. Now, I know that every one of you here can read, and it's hard to be the caboose that's coming up to be the one to bring up everything that I was going to say has been said. So I'm going to try to summarize this quickly, and I can talk very fast. The road is not good to travel on. I traveled through there with school when my children were little. I traveled through there going to the dance recital practice over that way, and it is very scary. I'm scared of putting another 100+ cars on that road. But I wanted to read you this one more time. And I'm really kind of puzzled as to why we're even here tonight. I'm very black and very white. If the sign says stop, what do? I stop. I'm not sure. I know that we all know the law. We uphold the law. But the mixed-use employment district says that it is to provide concentrated areas of high-quality employment facilities that may be integrated with or adjacent to complementary retail and commercial uses with medium-density residential uses. Section 412.2 development emphasis says some residential units may be mixed into the district, either on upper floors of mixed-use buildings or along the edges of the district, only to provide a buffer between the commercial district and the residential development. This is a mixed-use district. Please remember this. Please remember the citizens who are not paid to sit on the planning committee, who studied this, who listened to this, who made the right decisions for the citizens of Tupelo and rejected this plan. Now, I've known the McCullough family maybe not quite 50 years, but they're a family who want to do what's best for all people in the city of Tupelo. They did what was best by stepping up and starting the Cottonwood Estates development. In fact, I didn't even know this, but many, many years ago, Grandfather McCullough gave the land to the city of Tupelo to make then the 78 highway that I traveled from New Albany, my home of growing up, to Tupelo, to go to the orthodontist and shop and all those things you did when you lived in a bedroom community of Tupelo. They gave the land for the betterment of Tupelo and North Mississippi. This is why we have McCullough Boulevard today, which is the welcoming corridor to our city. I'd just like to say in closing, I hope that you will go back and read the code. It is the law. It's what it says. We love Tupelo. We love the citizens of Tupelo. And we have voted for y'all and entrusted our community to your guidance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trennis. Mr. Britton Jones. Okay, so Stuart Rutledge will be representing Brenton Jones.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council, for allowing me to speak. My name is Stuart Rutledge, and I'm here to present on behalf of Flowerdale Commons. Flowerdale Commons is a privately owned and operated 46-home community to be developed just southwest of the intersection of McCullough and Colonial Estates Road, just north of the airport and just south of the railroad. The site is currently undeveloped and used for farming. The site is surrounded by non-residential uses, on the north by commercial and industrial uses, on the south by governmental industrial use in the airport, and on the east and west by more farmlands. The site was zoned mixed-use employment by unanimous action of the Tupelo City Council in October 2013, and the majority of the mixed-use employment zoning area is currently commercial. This will be residential adjacent to commercial. The Tupelo zoning ordinances list the intended use by name as entitled by right, and additionally, the City of Tupelo has provided us 2 letters confirming that the zoning is appropriate for the intended use and is entitled by right. The development team has worked closely with the city to ensure that the community not only meets all the ordinances, but that we exceed the ordinances and further be superior in quality and aesthetics to surrounding projects. The city has confirmed on several occasions that we have satisfied and exceeded every requirement of the ordinances. But although this goes beyond the ordinances, we have also provided 3 separate traffic analyses by 3 different engineering firms. They all confirm that Colonial Estates is well constructed in accordance with city code and that it has more than sufficient capacity for additional development. Further, all the studies show that our small community will have no significant impact on the road. I believe I would be remiss if I did not very briefly...
Excuse me, Stuart. So, nobody said anything while everybody else was speaking. And so Mr. Rutledge gets his say whether you like it or not, without interruption, okay? Go ahead, Stuart.
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe I'd be remiss if I didn't briefly comment on the elephant in the room. It goes without saying that the only reason our site plan has gone through such unprecedented scrutiny far beyond city code is because of Glenn McCullough and his sister. I don't think they deny that. They've handed out flyers, sent out emails, and they've worked very hard to oppose us. Glenn and his family, as they've discussed tonight, own land near our land, and they have developed, as mentioned, some very high-density housing there on 10th-acre lots, and as Mary Connor said, they have plans for many more. By comparison, we are building 46 units on 12 acres. We are far lower density than the McCullough's PUD, just by way of reference. Glenn told us months ago that he did not want us to develop this property near his developments and that he would do what it took to protect his investment. We have all watched as Glenn has gone on a tour of the state demanding to anyone who will listen that they do his bidding to stop our development on his street, trying to control not just his land, but other people's land. Although I have seen the emails that completely mislead as to how outstanding our communities and our residents are, I must comment that even apart from us, if we weren't here, Glenn has made it clear, as was mentioned tonight in no uncertain terms, that they are all for letting Tupelo's workforce, who they say are lower income than they are, to live in Tupelo, but that those people just shouldn't live near them or in areas that may compete with their developments. To this end, Glenn has tried a variety of tactics, from attacking Tupelo's plainly written development code to questioning the very street on which he himself has done development and now has more development planned, all to futilely use as a pretext for his clearly stated true intent, which has been repeatedly stated tonight. But the city has stuck diligently to the code, and we are very thankful for that. Moving on from that, here are the facts. Even though there's no question that our community satisfies the code, beyond that, we are excited to bring an outstanding community to the area. Our community will be an asset to Tupelo for years to come. Tupelo is proud that it is progressive, growing fast, and attracting numerous job creators. but they can only attract to the extent those employees have high-quality homes. We have created over 3,000 of these homes in over 30 different communities. We've won 2 national awards, and we have enormous support statewide and nationally. Flowerdale Commons and its sister community will represent an almost $17 million investment in Tupelo, both from local banks, but also from larger investors eager to join in Tupelo's growth. Thank you to the City of Tupelo and your honorable work thus far, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. We look forward to being a citizen of Tupelo for the long haul, and we respectfully and genuinely thank city staff and you, the council, for creating such a great community as Tupelo.
Next is Rachel Schumpert.
I'm Rachel Schumpert, live at 582 North Beamster Lake Road. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you tonight. We're going to change gears a bit. I want to talk about Tulip Creek, which is the other development that's on the east side of town, the 48 apartments proposed on North Eason Boulevard. The Planning Committee has already recommended to you that y'all approve that development. However, no residents in Ward 5 have been able to meet with them. We got our notices 2 days after their meeting. The notices were mailed out on a Friday. The meeting was on the following Monday. We got our notices of the meeting 2 days later. So that really was a slap in the face. My husband has lived at his address for over 30 years. My neighbors have been, that property has been in their family since the 1930s, before any of us were ever born. And so to get these notices late, we really think we deserve better than that. And I would like for this to be part of the minutes, if that's allowed. However, we did have an informal meeting on the 3rd floor with Mr. Newman and Ms. Safely, and they were very helpful in helping us understand what was going on. However, nobody from Ward 5 has had the opportunity to go before the Planning Committee, which has already recommended to you that the 48 apartments over on North Eason Boulevard be approved. Nevertheless, we went ahead and did a petition, turned it in, and we're here tonight to express our opposition to the Tulip Creek development for a number of reasons. On North Eason Boulevard, it is not a residential area. If you visit over there, you will see Lee County Road Maintenance, APAC Asphalt Plant, trucking companies, Tombigbee Water Management District, trucks coming off of I-22, trucks hauling gravel, backhoes, chain link fences. It is a busy, dangerous industrial area. It is not a residential area. The APAC asphalt plant is expanding. You probably know the city's already issued a permit for them to expand. They will be producing more asphalt than ever before, and their truck volume will increase. And that's within 3/10 of a mile of the proposed apartments. 3/10 of a mile. Also, the design, the entrance and exit of if you look at the plans of the development, the entrance and the exit, one way in, one way out, it's in the curve. It's in the curve on North Eason Boulevard. 240 people, 130 parking spaces. We too have serious concerns about any traffic studies that would conclude that traffic would not be affected because it is in the curve. Not to mention the school buses from Lawhorn and Carver that will have to be getting in and out of that one way in, one way out. Rental apartments do have their place, and I know I'm sounding like a broken record, but home ownership is the American dream. We all agree on that. And Ms. Collins, we don't know each other, but our speeches are just about the same. The latest census records for the city of Tupelo does show that over 40% of the households are renters. How did we get to 40%? How much is enough? Every acre that you approve for rental apartments is an acre that won't be used for home ownership. Where does the buck stop? If these apartments are built, what would prevent the developer in this location on North Eason, what would prevent the developer from removing more trees and adding more apartments later, as long as he meets code? I'm asking. What is to prevent the developer from selling the apartments to an out-of-state corporation? And we all know what happened on Ida Street when ownership changed hands several times. What reassurances do the taxpaying property owners have that these apartments will be kept up? All apartments look good when they're new. And I'll summarize. Ward 5 residents did not receive proper notice. North Eason Boulevard is not a residential area. The entrance and exit in and out of that place is in the proposed apartments is in the curb. There's already a red light at Main and East Main. And if you put another red light there, that's going to back up traffic even more. And the city has little control over what happens to these apartments after they're already built. We respectfully ask you to vote no on Tulip Creek as well as no on Flowerdale.
Okay, could you bring me your paperwork, please, so we can put it in the minutes? Okay, thank you very much. So at this time, we're going to close the public agenda and open the regular session. We have nothing on the action agenda, so we're fixing to move into the routine agenda. So this is where I come off script, and I'm going to tell y'all what's fixing to happen. So we're fixing to pay some bills and approve some contracts and take some board minutes and some stuff like that. And when we get down to the very end, items 35 and 36 take up y'all's projects. So these projects were put on the minutes and didn't go through the study agenda, which is normally what takes place. So when we get down to them, we're going to move these two items to the study agenda. And then when we get to the study agenda, immediately after that, we're going to move them up, which means they will be on the agenda for the August 2nd meeting. Okay? The Tuesday before the August 2nd meeting, and I don't know what day that is, but the week before, we're going to have a work session to discuss the two items, and we're going to have a special call meeting also. It'll be the 26th. We're going to have a special call meeting also, because we're going to have to discuss in executive session some potential litigation either way, according to how the vote goes. Okay? And so the attorney's got to explain all that to us. So that's what's fixing to happen. So if you want to sit around here and watch us pay bills and do seconds and up and down votes and all that, you're welcome to hang out. And if y'all want to go eat and whatever, it's up to y'all. But we're going to be here for another 45 minutes rolling through this thing. So it's up to y'all. And then we're going to wait about 2 or 3 minutes and let everybody that wants to leave, and then we'll get back in order again and go from there.
I guess all of that truth is just a house.
What's going on, Chandler?
Jennifer. Do you know when, can you tell us when these were mailed?
Yeah, she was, well, she said, when I listened to
Okay.
she said, but she didn't send it, she did it. And I don't know where she sent it. She didn't send it to her. So I don't know where. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if she does or not. know the mailing date?
Stamped in Memphis. June said it was mailed June.
Okay, let's get rolling again. So routine agenda.
Hey, but that's not long. It wasn't mailed.
Item 17, in the matter of approval of minutes for the July 5th, 2022 regular council meeting.
Move we accept.
I got a motion by Travis Beard and a second by Nettie Davis. Do we have any discussion? All in favor? Chad?
Yep.
All right. Item 18, in the matter of bill pay.
So moved.
Second.
Buddy Palmer made a motion, Rosie Jones made the second. Bills are paid today by Nettie Davis, Buddy Palmer, Janet Gaston, and supervised by Tracy Dillard. All in favor of paying the bills? Chad?
Yep. Yep.
Bills are paid. Item 19, in the matter of advertising and promotional items. Do we have any?
No items.
We have none. Item 20, in the matter of a memorandum of understanding with the Department of Finance, House Bill 1353, Section 25RR, funding for lights, curb and gutter upgrade to McCullough Boulevard.
Move we approve the upgrade.
Got a motion by Travis Beard and a second by Buddy Palmer. Kim?
Yes, the funding, for item number 20, the funding is to upgrade McCullough Boulevard. This is the MOU for that project that is required from DFA. It basically says we will follow all the rules and be in compliance with what the DFA requires us to do. And the next three items are all for the various projects as well, even though they require a separate vote just to speed up the process. The next one is for the turnaround at Elvis Presley. That is the item K times 10. And then the next one is the repair of, and the funding for Anvil Road, which is item B. So the first two that you're looking at is the upgrade to McCullough. The second one that you'll be looking at is the MOU for Ballard Park. And these are both required for funding arrangements with DFA.
Thank you.
We're
All in
voting
favor?
right now on 21, right? Just
We're on
one.
20.
20.
All in
Okay.
favor of the motion? Chad?
Yep.
Item 21, in the matter of memorandum of understanding with the Department of Finance, House Bill 1353, Section 25, and J to the 10th power, funding to refurbish Ballard Park.
I move that we would,
Go ahead, Nettie.
I move that we would approve the Department of Finance House Bill 1353, Section 25.
Second.
I got a second by motion by Nettie Davis, a second by Buddy Palmer. Y'all have heard all that. Do we need any more discussion? All in favor? Chad?
Yep.
Motion carries.
Approved.
Item 22, in the matter of memorandum of understanding with the Department of Finance, House Bill 1353, Section 25K to the 10th power, funding for the turnaround at Elvis Presley birthplace.
I move we approve this MOU.
Second.
I got a motion by Buddy Palmer and a second by Janet Gaston. Any more discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Chad? Motion carries.
Yep.
Item 23, in the matter of memorandum of understanding with the Department of Finance, House Bill 1353, Section 25V to the 5th power, funding for the Enville Road improvement.
I move that we would approve MOU for Enville Road.
Second.
I got a motion by Nettie Davis and a second by Travis Beard. Any more discussion? All in favor? Chad?
Yep.
Motion carries.
Yep.
Item 24, in the matter of review and approve properties for lot mowing.
I move that we approve the properties for lot more.
Second.
I got a motion by Travis Beard and a second by Buddy Palmer. Tanner.
Mr. President, the council received the final lot mowing list this afternoon. Code enforcement inspected each of those properties over the last couple of days, and just asked that the council approve that final list for lot mowing.
Do we have any need to discuss on the lot mowings? All in favor? Chad? Motion carries. Item 25, in the matter of review and approve property for demolition.
Move that we would approve properties for demolition on that. Evans.
2819, 2816 Evans Circle.
Yes.
Do I have a second? I got a second by Travis. Was that you, Travis? I got a second by Travis Beard. Tanner?
Mr. President, Department of Development Services asked the council to approve the demolition of 2816 Evans Circle. It is a house that's been abandoned for approximately 5 years. It's owned by a real estate company on the coast. It's going through the blight review process, passed the blight review committee for final passage by the city council. Happy to answer any questions.
Any more questions? All in favor? Chad?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 26, in the matter of consultant selection via small purchase procedure, STP-0430-00046, LPA/109150, Ward 7, Lawndale Elementary School sidewalk.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Buddy Palmer and a second by Janet Gaston. Dennis Bonds.
Yes, sir. Good evening. This is in relation to our recent award from the LPA to do this project. It ties in there at Lawndale Elementary, comes back around to South Park Manor Apartments for some sidewalk work. So through this internal discussion, we can use this procedure to select our design consultant. That'll be DABS Engineering.
Thank you. All in favor? Chad?
Yep.
Motion carries. Item 27, in a matter of consultant selection via small purchase procedure, STP-0430-00047, LPA/109149, Ward 4, Barnes Crossing sidewalk.
I move that we would approve the consultant selection for.
Got a motion by Nettie Davis.
Second.
Second by Travis Beard. Dennis.
Yes, sir. Same note as the prior item, similar size project, similar in scope. So going to ask Dustin Dabbs to help us with this one as well.
Thank you. Do I have any discussion?
I'd like to ask the council to give strong support to this. This is a project that I've been working on and pushing for a long time, and I hope it's going to become a reality if you support it.
Any more questions? All in favor? Chad?
Yep.
Motion carries. Item 28, in the matter of surplus and equipment for retirement.
I move we approve this request.
Second.
I got a motion by Buddy Palmer and a second by Travis Beard. John?
Yes. Captain Bruce Dotson recently retired from the Tupelo Police Department. And it's customary when someone retires from the department that we surplus their firearm and they be allowed to purchase it for $1. This is customary by our department. It's also approved by state statute.
Good. Any discussion? All in favor? Chad? Motion carries. Item 29, the matter of the memorandum of agreement between the Tupelo Police Department and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, better known as the ATF. John? Oh, I'm sorry.
I move that we approve.
Second.
I got a motion by Travis Beard and a second by Buddy Palmer. Now, John.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Before you is a memorandum of agreement between the Tupelo Police Department and the ATF. As you may know, we have 2 ATF task force officers with our department. This agreement allows ATF to pay them overtime, and it also allows other officers who may be assisting with ATF investigations to be paid overtime as well. Prior to you receiving this agreement, it was reviewed by Stephen Reed, and he did give me his thumbs up on it.
Good. So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any more discussion? All in favor? Chad?
Yep.
Motion carries. Item 30, in the matter of approval of Blue Cross Blue Shield grant for the Healthy Heroes program for Tupelo Parks and Rec.
Move we approve.
Second.
I got a motion by Travis Beard and a second by Janet Gaston. Alex.
This is a grant, again, through Blue Cross Blue Shield and a partnership with the city of Tupelo. We did this same grant back in 2019. It was very successful. It's a partnership that we do, that we partner with the Tupelo Public School District through their K through 5 schools, where we take a uniformed police officer and a uniformed firefighter to go in and talk about healthy eating and the importance of exercise. This grant this year will be for $100,000, and we look to use that money at Robbinsville to replace some very outdated playground equipment, and also to update some very outdated workout equipment that will be over at Ballard Park as well.
Any more questions of Alex? All in favor? Chad?
Yeah.
Motion carries. Item 31, in the matter of annual police advisory board report.
I move that we approve that report. He was given part of it at least tonight before the meeting.
Second.
I got a motion by Travis Beard and a second by Buddy Palmer. Any discussion on the advisory board report? All in favor? Chad?
Yep.
Motion carries. Item 32, in the matter of acceptance of the Tupelo Redevelopment Authority minutes of July the 6th, 2022.
I move that we would accept the TRA minutes.
Second.
I got a motion by Nettie and a second by Travis Beard. Any discussion? All in favor? The minutes are Chad, the minutes are accepted. Item 33, in the matter of review, accept the Planning Committee minutes of June the 6th, 2022, with the exception of major site plans for Tupelo, for Tulip Creek apartment development. Missy, we need to make a correction in the minutes. It's got for Tupelo Creek, and it should be Tulip Creek.
I so move.
I got a motion by Nettie Davis and a second by Travis Beard. Tanner?
Mr. President, I ask the council tonight to accept the minutes of the June 6, 2022 Tupelo Planning Committee meeting with the exception of the major site plan for Tulip Creek. That particular item will be voted on by the council at a later date. The other item within the minutes is a flexible use of a non-conforming use of Estes Garage at 5315 Purnell Road. That was approved at the Planning Committee meeting, so I ask that the council approve or accept the minutes with the exception of the Tulip Creek apartment major site plan.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Chad?
Yep.
7-0. Approved. Item 34, in the matter of review and accept Planning Committee minutes of July the 11th, 2022, with the exception of the major site plans for the Flowerdale Commons apartment development.
So moved.
I have a motion by Janet Gaston and a second by Nettie. And a second by Nettie Davis. Tanner?
Mr. President, I ask the council to accept as a matter of record the minutes of the July 11th, 2022 Tupelo Planning Committee meeting. The only item on the agenda was the Flowerdale Commons apartment complex, so I want to make sure the record reflects that accepting these minutes is not accepting the recommendation of the Planning Committee, but rather accepting the minutes as an item of record.
Any more discussion of Mr. Newman? All in favor? Chad?
Yep.
Motion carries. Item 35, to have a motion to place item 35 in the matter of review and approve, reject major site plan application MSP 22-02 for Tulip Creek Apartments development to the study agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I got a motion by Buddy Palmer and a second by Nettie Davis. All in favor? Chad?
Yep.
Motion carries. Item 36, make a motion to move item 36 in the matter of review and approve, reject major site plan application MSP 22-01 for Flowerdale Commons apartment development to the study agenda. Travis Beard, made a motion by Travis Beard, second by Rosie Jones. All in favor?
Yep.
Motion carries. Study agenda. Item 35, in the matter of review, approve, reject major site plan application MSP 2202 for Tulip Group Apartments. Do we want to move it up?
Move it up.
Move it up.
Item 35 is moved up. Item 36, in the matter of review and approve, reject major site plan application MSP 22-01 for Flowerdale Commons Apartment Development. Do you want to move it up?
Move it up.
Both items are moved up to the regular agenda for the next regular city council meeting. Mr. Logan, do you have a need for executive session?
I do not tonight.
You do not?
No.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? I have a motion by Travis Beard, a second by Buddy Palmer. All in favor? Chad?
Oh.
Have a good trip. City council's adjourned.
Good job, man.